Picture this, a 17-year-old boy living in suburban Michigan with nothing but his curiosity, a handful of household items, and a desire to understand the mysteries of the universe. His name? David Charles Hahn, also known as the radioactive Boy Scout. And yes, you're about to hear why. Born on October 30th, 1976, David's life began in chaos. His parents divorced when he was just 9, and his mother struggled with alcoholism and mental illness before taking her own life. But from a young age, David had a fascination with science, something he inherited from his step-grandfather, who introduced him to the Golden Book of Chemistry experiments. It was this book that sparked his obsession with chemistry, and soon after, with radiation. David wasn't just reading about science, he was living it. He mowed lawns to fund his experiments, and by the time he was a teenager, he was making chloroform, fireworks, and rockets. Once the book even encouraged him to sniff chloroform, and he passed out for over an hour. But this wasn't just a phase. David's ambitions grew. He did not want to just play with chemistry. He wanted to create a nuclear reactor in his own home. And that's exactly what he did. As a Boy Scout, David earned his Atomic Energy Merit Badge, but he took it a little far beyond the requirements. Over time, he scoured junkyards, antique shops, and his own home for radioactive materials. He collected americium from smoke detectors, thorium from camping lanterns, radium from old clocks, and tritium from gun sights. Armed with these materials, he built his very own reactor, or close to one. It was a block of lead with lithium from $1,000 worth of batteries, using a Bunsen burner to purify the thorium ash. And what did he get from it? Radiation levels over 1,000 times the normal. But David didn't just stop there. Alarmed by the risks, he began to dismantle his experiment. Fate intervened, though, when a routine traffic stop turned into a nuclear crisis for him. The police found radioactive materials in his car, and David, realizing the danger, warned them. This set off a chain reaction that led to a federal radiological emergency response team, which included the FBI and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. David's backyard lab was dismantled, and his mother's property was declared a Superfund cleanup site by the EPA. Here's the twist, though. David was undeterred. Despite his experiments being shut down, he became an Eagle Scout shortly after, and the authorities took everything away. He even went on to serve in the U.S. Navy and the Marine Corps, working on the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise. However, his life would never be the same. Struggling with mental illness and substance abuse, David's obsession with radiation and the fallout from his actions haunted him. In 2007, David was arrested for stealing smoke detectors to get more americium. His face was covered in sores, likely from years of exposure to radioactive materials. But guess what? David never sought medical help. He refused to acknowledge the toll it had taken on his body. David Charles Hahn's life is a cautionary tale, a mix of brilliance, madness, and tragedy. He died at a young age of just 39, his life marked by drugs, alcohol, and the consequences of his radioactive experiments. So what does this story teach us? It's a powerful reminder that sometimes curiosity can lead us into a dangerous territory, and in David's case, it was a radioactive journey he could not come back from. The radioactive Boy Scout was a product of his time, a teenager with a thirst for knowledge but no understanding of the dangers that came with it. And while we might look at him as a cautionary figure, we can't help but marvel at the unrelenting curiosity that drove him to create something both brilliant and perilous.